Yeah, before we start, I will briefly introduce who I am. I'm Wong co-founder of Essential Design Integrated Sdn Bhd, together with my partner, architect David Chan, architect Chan Man In, and myself. We are an integrated design studio with both architecture and interior design under one roof. That's actually my team leader in the photo. Design philosophy. We don't really follow any trend or style. We approach the design from the user perspective. The site, what the space can provide. We believe one should always invest into things that never go out of trend, that are timeless. For example, taller ceiling, a wider staircase, a brighter interior, and above all, comfort. Design inspiration can come from anything. Small things within our own personal or professional life can influence the decision that we make when working on a project. And these seemingly small seeds of thoughts can sometimes snowball into a bigger ideas that continue to take form in our subsequent project. Let me share with you some of the architect works that inspire me here. Dato Ando, a Japanese South-trained architect famous for his minimalist approach and timeless approach to his architecture in shadow and lights, space and volume, and also the spatial experience that one have a chance to visit his building. For example, this building, an art museum that is embedded in ground. Okay, he sequenced the journey for one to experience by simple use of the natural element like natural light, where you need to wait for a certain moment for the light to shine through the opening that he designed. Air, the courtyard that helped to ventilate the hot air and cool down the interior. Water, which the courtyard that design allowed to rain in. And of course, framing of views. The second architect that I would like to share here that inspired me a lot, which is a lady architect called Eva Irishna from Czech, that based in London. She is known for her attention to details and her many version of her glass staircase creation and breakthrough from the conventional one. What else inspired me here? Inspiration comes from many forms that what I would like to share with you today and how it influenced our office design process. We stumbled a pot of potted Boston fern here when we were shopping in IKEA, which costs around $5.90 per pot, which is not too pricey in our mind, that we think if we can actually use it in our design to cover a building facade. We just need to find a way to hang over our facade. We can even play with different color of the different species of the plant for different festive. The DNP Sales Gallery in Bukit Mertajam in 2011. It was a sales gallery project where we converted a pair of semi-industrial units. That in our design, we wanted to bring the exterior into the interior as much as possible and to have a visual connection to the landscape from every part of the sales gallery. We carry through the external brick pavers into the interior. By doing so, the space visually and physically extended outwards when the folding door opened for the launching event. A double height main gallery opened out towards the front facade where we play with the hanging IKEA potted Boston fern. We designed a simple steel structure for the pots to be hung onto and a service corridor behind to maintain or change the pot as and when is needed. Along the line with the landscape-inspired interior, we also created another alfresco multi-purpose space at the roof garden to allow a small group of buyers to hang around. These little pots of the plant that allow us to design with the green facade sparked off from a shopping trip in IKEA that won us a little award in 2011 from IPDM. In 2013, we were experiencing the beginning of Green and Recycle Awareness Program in where we live. We were trying to recycle paper, glass, aluminum can in our home, and that also sparked another idea. We had a lot of this used blotted paper lying around at the back office. We thought, what if we can actually make full use of it for something? There were also a lot of this used can being collected and recycled in the office, so that we thought we can actually use it as one of material for our project. We look at other items we can recycle and use for a project. We found leftover wooden crates at client backyard. We know a fellow architect friends that was working with used Tetra Pak drinking boxes to create amazing light fittings here. So we took this inspiration to work on IGM new Grain Township, Bandar Rimbayu, and the interior for their new sales gallery in 2013. The reception table is being designed and constructed with glass to showcase the compressed aluminum tin can collection that were collected from IGM office nationwide. Above the counter is the handmade Tetra Pak light fittings that was designed and made by architect Edward Chu. Our plotted paper made the chair for the sitting area. The development model and drawings were placed on top of recycled wooden pallets here. Recycled timber from construction site was used to construct meeting room and partition, as well as used clay brick for sales gallery floor. The little project of ours that was inspired by recycled material won us the MRD Gold Award in 2014 for the green interior. Okay, getting into my car in one of the hot afternoon, I opened the sunroof to let the hot air inside the car to escape. An idea pops up in my head when I look up and saw the trees here. What if we can make a garden like this for a house? The opportunity came when we commissioned to do J House, a typical 2275 intermediate terrace house remodeling project that the client actually have a limited budget, but he wanted a bungalow within a terrace house. With our philosophy of above all comfort, we designed a bigger space, higher ceiling, brighter interior as compared to a typical terrace house. The living and dining has been combined and designed to experience the full 22 feet width and 75 feet length, while we're removing part of the ceiling and floor slab to allow one to experience the full height of the house. Inspired by Ando, we borrow whatever is free from surrounding. The natural light, air, water. On top of that, we borrow the boundary wall at the back to convert it, become a vertical garden that becomes the focal point for the house. Any part of the house can see and connect with the green wall. This is actually the favorite spot of the house owner for him to look out to the vertical garden that open up to the sky. The sunroof inspired courtyard garden, but we also borrow lights and space from the exterior. I spend some of my weekend morning with my son in those neighborhood mountain hiking. As inside the hiking trails, most part are covered by big canopy trees, and yet remarkable scenes make up the sequence of the journey that we can always remember. So we name the scenes, the monster tree, the rock, the stream, and each of the scene is associated with rest area. Mountain trekking, journeys, sequence experience that inspire the next project, which is House 68 here. The architect intention is to have a pavilion concept designed with a big roof over and surrounded by a large garden. It's separated into 3 distinct pavilions, which is A, guest pavilion, B, family pavilion, and C, formal living, which is housed under the entertainment pavilion. And the design is incorporated a lot of outdoor, indoor transitional area that allow us the opportunity to explore the idea of a track. With the idea of scene creation, we toy with this to introduce a forecourt garden as a foyer, which also as part of the stair foyer and lift lobby, connecting family pavilion and 2 hanging staircases. As in the forecourt, the rock garden with staircase hanging from the top, the hanging structure is designed as light as possible. And I have to thank my architect here to allow me to explore the crazy ideas, which as an ID, we too have to come up with the design intention of how we want the staircase to hang down from the soffit and go through many rounds of the technical drawings and meetings with the steel specialists and multiple revisions of drawings to perfect the design. Same goes to the hanging staircase number 2 here to the upper floor master suite. In the making of the staircase, we have to gone through a lot of the off-site coordination with main contractor, steel specialists, and timber staircase specialists here. And the concealed part of the staircase structure, we have to work with granite skin wall specialists to ensure the structure can be concealed perfectly in the stone wall. On-site actual mock-up for timber staircase guide to study how the bolt and nuts can be concealed, fully concealed, and allow LED light to be mounted at the bottom of the step, which actually in the roof lines. This is the completed main entrance with 7-meter high main door to the foyer. The above is actually the translucent bridge that connecting from the guest pavilion to the foyer. When one step into the foyer, it opened to you the rock garden with hanging staircase, the glass leaf, and the outside garden. The translucent bridge is made of steel structure and laminated glass. This replaced the conventional corridor to the first floor that is extending from the foyer to connect the guest pavilion. That's another view of the hanging staircase. And the foyer is actually lit up by the natural light from top and from the side. There is a big sliding door at the end of the foyer that's separating the dining with the foyer for the aircon purposes. When we walk into the dining area, we open to the view of the rubber plantation beyond the boundary. And with the forest view, we minimize the kitchen design to as simple as possible to conceal a wet kitchen door and outdoor kitchen door. From this, you can see that when we actually close up all the door, it's actually just a plain backdrop. Feature stone top island practically serving multiple functions here as worktop, a social bar, and a breakfast area. The living pavilion is designed to integrate the landscape. One side is the water courtyard. The other side is swimming pool with rubber plantation on far. With borrowed views from the garden, together with natural light, air, wind, water become part of the design element. So when we open up the folding doors, the boundaries inside, outside is blurred. That's when inside out and outside in views. Internally, there's this private staircase that connecting from the first floor to the master bedroom. And the design of the staircase also hanging from the top and with the mirror ceiling that reflected the continuity of the spiral staircase. Outside sitting, we allow another outdoor sitting area in the water courtyard. And there, in the garden, there's step planter leading up to the edible garden at the back. WFH, I think most of us is quite familiar with this work from home. So March 2020, Malaysian experienced the first movement control lockdown, Zoom and Teams becoming the new norms to us. So everyone work from home. So we question ourselves, how does one work from home while at the office then? This thought inspired the next project, an office in a typical 80s 4-story walkout shop lots. Again, with our philosophy of utilizing free elements from surrounding, we look at the ways to bring in more natural lights and ventilation into this intermediate office block. We also wanted to create an office home away from home and a garden within. The office faces west and the hot afternoon sun, and the back gets the morning sun. This allows us to start thinking about what we can plant and create a pocket garden. We decide to go without any signboard and let the plant and garden to take over the facade instead. Internally, there's an open air staircase that connects inside with the garden and the exterior. A reception lobby that opens up onto a terrace garden, which this is actually on the first floor. The interior is bright and airy, and a work from home environment that breaks away from usual impression of how an office should be. An office with a fully operated kitchen and garden balcony, and a multi-use space with tiered seating, which also double up as an activity space for the staff and a makan space for the office. As creative, we generate ideas from many little bits of thoughts that come through our mind daily, things that inspire us, things that interest us, things that make you go, and we build big places from the little bits of thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, interior designer Wong Pei-san. Thank you. Things that make you go, Yeah, so together after we have enjoy your sharing right here. Well, from your sharing, we know that you collect your inspirations around you from the surroundings. So here I have a question. If you don't mind sharing this with us, can you please tell us one of your work, the upcoming one or the currently that you are doing right now is actually nature inspired?
Our office is actually currently working on a project, not in Malaysia. It's in 2 hours away from us, which is a place called Boko Mountain in Cambodia, which we will be building a series of little homes within the jungle.
Wow, okay. Well, we can't wait to see that. And we would like to know, how long does it take for your work to be done, to be complete?
It really depends. Sometimes it's like a few months we can actually finish a project. For example, like the little office, but the house 68 actually took us for 6 years. For the reason being because we are already part of the team from the very beginning of the project, from the formation of the architecture. So we have a flexibility of creating gardens within the interior.
I see. Thank you so much. And here, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions to interior designer Wong Pei-san, just put up your hand. We will have a mic passed to you and you may raise your questions. Anyone? If not, then I will be continue with my next questions because I would really like to know what is considered as a good design from an interior designer point of view.
Okay, I think I will need to come from how long my office has already been around. In a group, we are celebrating our 20 years anniversary this year. So what happened, our first owner has been already with us like more than 15 years, and most of it is actually house owner. And we are reaching to a stage that when some of the house owner is already having their second generation, it's actually very rewarding when the first house owner recommending their second generation and even pay for their second generation to come to us to build their next home. Yeah, then I will consider we are actually doing our good job.